Today I want to share my thoughts, opinions, and criticism on the Marathon Closed Alpha playtest. With the official conclusion to the closed alpha on May 6, 2025, I compiled and made notes throughout my playthrough. First and foremost, I myself did not get an access code to play on my own account. However, my friend luckily got a code and humbly allowed me to play on his account since he was more interested in Arc Raiders while I was more interested in Marathon. So thank you to him for the background gameplay that I was able to capture. At the same time, please keep in mind these are my own thoughts and opinions. It is also important to note that my play session was a day or two before the end of the closed alpha playtest. Now without further ado, let's get right into it. To start things off, I will share my thoughts on the overall feel for the game. This will be broken down into two sections, the gunplay and the movement. The gunplay is absolutely fantastic. Nothing less to expect from Bungie to deliver yet another unique and satisfying feeling of pointing and shooting a weapon. The best description I can describe for the closest resemblance of Marathon's gunplay would be Destiny's gunplay. Here are some examples I can provide. For my Destiny players, the Overrun AR feels like your 600 RPM adaptive frame auto rifles. The CE Tactical Sidearm feels like your 360 RPM lightweight frame sidearms. The Magnum MC feels like your 140 RPM precision frame hand cannons, and the Longshot feels like your 72 RPM aggressive frame snipers. For my Apex players, the Overrun AR is the R301 carbine, the CE Tactical Sidearm is the P2020, the Magnum MC is the Wingman, and the Longshot is the Longbow DMR. There was plenty of ammo to burn through during each of my runs. I feel like I basically had infinite ammo since I was able to restock my ammo reserves by killing the AIs or from looting. The gunfights, whether it be against AIs or other runners, are not very loud, so there is a very small chance of encountering third parties. The bullet trails are very visible, so you can definitely see where the direction of bullets were shot from, as well as it being a strong indicator of activities happening around the map. The default movement speed feels very much like Bungie's Halo Spartan walk speed. When you start sprinting, it feels very much like the sprint ability on Halo Reach, where you have very limited speed boost, but will come to an unexpected end if not paced correctly. Personally, I find that a runner can move from point A to point B with no issue, especially when looting a location, as well as traversing in the open. Of course, expect to find roaming AIs and potentially players in the open, and if needed, utilize your sprint to get to cover. The downside to Marathon's movement would be the slide. The slide feels like Call of Duty Black Ops 3's Specialist slide, where there is that initial burst of speed but no satisfying momentum carry, especially while sliding downhill like in Apex Legends. I would want Bungie to polish the slide momentum to something similar to Destiny or Apex Legends before the beta or full release. In addition, Bungie should also fix the visual sprint animation since it makes the player feel like you are being weighed down. Up next are the runners. In the closed alpha, there were only 4 playable runners, this being Locust, Glitch, Blackbird, and Void. I played Void the most. Despite being a hero shooter, the core gameplay is primarily guns first. For me, each gunfight encounter was not an ability spam like something you may see in Apex Legends, Valorant, and most definitely not anything like Overwatch. The PvP was more aim-oriented and rewarded players who have map awareness and correct positioning. Each runner is equipped with 1 tactical and prime ability with an addition to having 2 unique traits. To simplify, your tactical is your unique ability depending on the character, prime is your ultimate/super, and your 2 traits are your passives. Again, while it may sound horrendous, your tactical and prime abilities across all runners have an extremely long cooldown compared to other hero shooter standards. This encourages players to utilize their runners strategically as opposed to running it down and brainlessly burning out all your abilities. The AIs were also a highlighting feature that I focused on. During my playthrough, I honestly was disappointed. The AIs were not up to Bungie standards of PvE combatants. They were more or less only there to annoy you while you loot an area or fight a team. In the closed alpha, there were only 2 variants of AI combatants. These were the UESC robots and ticks. The UESC robots' behavior are a combination of Halo's elites and brutes, while the ticks' behavior are the exact same as the spiders in Apex Legends, commonly found on the Stormpoint map. I've mainly fought against the UESC robots with very little encounters of the ticks since I didn't really walk through their nests. Each UESC robot had varying colored shields, similar to your runner's color shields. The attack moves I've encountered by the UESC robots were your standard gunners with automatic rifles, grenadiers who launched explosives at you, and shielded USC robots who had an extra protective barrier in front of them. My main issue for the AIs in this closed alpha playtest was that they were not threatening at all. For example, I could be running away and the AIs would not chase after me. I could be hiding behind cover or be in another room and the AIs would not even care to push through to challenge me. Although there was a tremendous lack of variety in AIs and their difficulties, I will say, when these AIs land a hit on you, whether it be gunshot or falcon punch, they absolutely hit hard. I need Bungie to lock it in and code these AIs to behave more like real players. What I can suggest is program the AIs to purposely hide behind a cover if a runner is fighting at a range. Maybe even when the AIs break your shields, they are more aggressive. Or better yet, vice versa, where when a runner breaks the USC robots' shields, the robots become more aggressive. And of course, I need more variety of PvE combatants in the game as well. Wink wink, cough cough, nudge nudge, oh I don't know. Maybe something like the Four and their enslaved species shown in the classic Marathon games. Just throwing out ideas for you, but seriously though Bungie, pretty please? The heal consumables in the closed alpha were almost if not one-to-one with Apex Legends. These are your shield cells, shield batteries, syringes, medkits, and even a Phoenix kit. Cells and syringes are gray rarity, while batteries and medkits are blue rarities, and Phoenix kits are purple rarities. For my non-Apex Legends players, shield cells are quick consumables which partially recover your shield bar, while shield batteries are slightly longer consumables which fully recovers your shield bar. Same with syringes where it partially heals your total health bar, and medkits fully heals your health bar. Phoenix kits will fully heal both your shield and health bar, but with a longer consumption time. Then there are your booster consumables. For example, an adrenaline consumable which when used provides a short duration to speed boost, or an antidote to combat against poison stasis. There's also a self-revive kit which you can carry multiple copies of by the way. I don't know if you can infinitely self-revive yourself as long as you have a self-revive kit in your inventory, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is possible. Personally, I think every runner should be allowed to self-revive only once per run as long as they have a self-revive kit in their inventory. If a runner happens to find an additional self-revive kit while looting in the same run, they should not be able to use it. Besides the self-revive kits, the heal consumables are very basic and does not need any changes in my opinion. The throwables are also fine, except for the claymores. In the closed alpha, there are frag grenades, claymores, smoke grenades, and chem grenades, all at a maximum stack of 3 each. My issue with the claymore is that they cannot be destroyed unless walked within proximity. In other words, you cannot shoot the claymores to destroy them. You must sacrifice your life, or if you're lucky, trade a large portion of your shield and health to destroy them. This is absolutely diabolical and sadistic of Bungie to even code such a thing. Fix it not tomorrow, not later, not in beta, and not even at full release, but today, Bungie. Equally important, the radial wheel of both heal consumables and throwables needs a major update. As of the closed alpha, you need to hover over the item and then click to use either consumables or throwables. It does not help when transitioning between items does not feel smooth but rather clunky. Also, the radial wheel is not a circle but rather a square, just a small personal preference detail that I find annoying. What needs to be changed is when hovering over the item, it will be used or equipped. What's even worse is that you can't cancel your heals or throwables. I heavily suggest a rework on this feature before the beta and full release. The looting feels slightly okay, but more leaning towards bad. I feel like there could be more items in each container or even a small bump to find rare items. Feel free to also litter more items laying out in the open in each room/zones, since I would only find one item laying around in every 3 or so rooms that I've explored. I suggest Bungie allow runners to stack valuables since these items take up way too much space in your inventory, especially since there are a wide variety of them. For me, there was a lack of customizable runner items such as implants, cores, shields, backpacks, and even weapon mods when looting containers and rooms. Instead, there were more materials, valuables, and consumables. Despite the fact that I was lucky enough to find a prestige shield, I got the majority of my customizable runner items from downed runners. It's either that or doing secrets on the map that rewards me with better loot. What I find unique and cool is that each backpack has a unique trait. These unique traits can grant players something like faster healing or auto reloading if equipped with the right backpack. I just feel Bungie needs to tune the looting aspect just a bit more, but it's definitely not a main concern at the moment. The environment, especially the interiors during this closed alpha, was honestly amazing. I loved the lighting, the shaders, the vibrant colors that help the details stand out, and design were all fantastic and very Marathon appropriated themed. When you step outside, however, it's like an entirely different game. I'm sure Bungie will apply the right shaders and render the exterior to match what the interior looks like at a later date. By doing so, this would make Marathon one of the most breathtaking environments in video game history. The audio during the closed alpha needs critical attention. There was no echo when firing weapons indoors or outdoors. Each weapon fire sounds remotely similar to one another. An absence of ambient environmental audio such as the rustling from vegetation, strong winds during a storm, or splashing in the waters really takes away from the immersion of your surroundings. Worst of all is the very quiet footsteps from runners. It was like there was no audio at all. I find myself getting sneaked up on and killed by runners in most of my PvP fights. Bungie really needs to crank the footsteps up a couple decibels. Another quick note. When downing a runner, there needs to be a distinct audio cue or even a better visual cue to indicate that the runner is downed. Instead, we have this very lame small arrow indicator which I think needs to be changed to the red flash that you see when killing AIs. The map design is very interesting because, for me, Dire Marsh was more PvP oriented and Perimeter was more PvE oriented. With Dire Marsh, I can expect a PvP encounter in the first 5 to 7 minutes of the match as well as more PvP if I choose to stay longer. With Perimeter, it was more laid back and surprisingly, more likely for me to avoid PvP if I choose to solely play PvE. That being said, the map designs are perfect the way they are, which gives the players freedom to choose which way they want to play. If I wanted to do PvP with the build I made, I select Dire Marsh. If I wanted to do a material, equipment, contract, or credit run, I select Perimeter. The menu definitely needs more flair to it. I understand that it is a closed alpha, so I'm not too pressed about it, but it does look extremely bland. I'm excited to see what Bungie will place in the background in the full release. The inventory management does exactly what it needs to be and do. However, when you want to discard an item, you need to be precise and drag the item into a drop zone instead of flicking off screen and it auto removes the item from your inventory. Multiple items such as weapons, valuables, and even higher tier materials for later contract completions from factions take up way too much space. Valuables and rare items are also not stackable, which needs to be changed. I commonly found that when looting a runner, I did not have enough space to slot in implants, cores, or weapons that I want to exfil with. Hopefully, Bungie will open up either more space or reduce the amount of space each item takes up so that looting and exfilling feel more rewarding. In conclusion, Marathon does exactly what it is advertising. This game is a solid team-based extraction shooter. Solos are possible, but you will be at a heavy disadvantage if you do not bring your absolute best gear into the match. That being said, going from 0 to hero feels really good. This helps combat the feeling of losing your gear and the fear of not being able to bounce back into the game. There's also a free loadout option if you really wanted to hoard your loot like a little gremlin and still have the option to continue playing the game. Personally, the game loop I can see myself doing would be saving my best gears for the ranked playlist and then using a semi-viable build for a casual or contract run. If I happen to lose everything in my vault, I will use the unlimited free loadout option to go from 0 to hero and repeat. The stats for your build crafting feels useless at least during the closed alpha. I didn't really have that tense feeling when extracting, since there were more PvE AIs swarming me rather than runners. Overall, Marathon has a core and foundation that Bungie can build on. The more I played, the more I enjoyed it. Simple as that. I pray that the best option and announcement that Bungie can make in this upcoming dev Q&A post-alpha stream on May 16th, 2025 is that Marathon will have a delayed release. Marathon needs more time. There is so much potential for the game, but so little time given. Bungie has a lot of homework to do to compete against other extraction shooters on the market. If you were to ask me how Marathon is right now, I would sincerely and honestly say that it is the absolute best and greatest goddamn game out there right now. But seriously though, I would say that it's not good, which pains me to say. Ultimately, this closed alpha playtest felt like I was roaming a Destiny patrol zone, doing patrol missions, and looting lost sectors as a point of interest. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, and stay safe out there.